Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to the channel of upright men and women. Guys, this is one of the most disturbing piece of news to come out of this country. And it is disturbing to every single Jamaican who loves their country. By now, all of you would have heard about the shipment of guns that have come in from the United States. Now, every news host by now would have just scratched the surface by just giving you the superficial story. Yeah, a number of guns found down by the wharf. Okay, fine. But when you come and hear what I do, after giving you the basics, I then analyze it, break it down, see how the pieces fit together compared to other similar situations, and then we pick up patterns and see where it leads, and then discuss possible outcomes. After watching this video, you will not see that this gun find, this 233 guns found on the wharf, the same way as you had before you watched this video. But before going into you guys, let me just remind you, my miserable brand is back out on sale. These black t-shirts with the word miserable. And they're of course unisex, male and female. And wear these shirts. I would love for you to show your support by buying one of my shirts. The link is in the description. Or you can just call this number and I'll send the link straight to your phone and you can just make your purchase from there. Thank you so much for stepping up. And now let's get into today's topic. Earlier this week, I'm not quite sure which day because the police is very tight-lipped on that. But what I've gotten to understand, Thursday, March 29th, 2025, at last count, 233 guns have been recovered at a tributary of the Kingston Wharves down by the waterfront. Also, the ammunition that's being counted, because it's still being counted, up to last night, it was up to 17,000 rounds and still counting. And enough policemen are counting, you know. I know one or two, and them still can't done yet. Now, let me explain to you guys how this bust came about. The customs department had gotten an anonymous tip that there were some guns and ammunition inside a shipment that had come in on a particular day at the wharf, and that the authorities should look out for it and intercept it. And lo and behold, the shipment actually came in. It was assigned to a church. It had the name of a church or a charity connected to some religious organization. And it was said to contain foodstuff to be handed out as food packages to indigent people. When it went through the scanner, yes, the anomalies were found and were believed that there was possible firearms inside the container, along with foodstuffs, of course. When they took the shipment, it was several barrels. And when they opened them and checked throughout them in several of the barrels, they actually found some things which were strange. They found bicycle parts. Lots of bicycle parts, broken bicycles or bicycles that were just broken down. And a lot of other pipes and plumbing equipment, wrenches and spanners and so on. None of which seemed to be new. But they were like, why put them cheap bicycle parts here along with foods and stuff for people? It seems strange, but of course there was nothing illegal about bicycle parts. So they packed back the barrels because at the time, customs were on full alert. So they packed back the barrels and everything was fine. But what happened now? There was one smart guy. I don't know whether this was a policeman or a customs officer, but somebody there decided to check the office, check the manifest to see if there were any other shipment. There was another shipment inside of that same container, and he realized that it was coming from the same source where these bicycle parts and foodstuff were coming from. And when he ran back the manifest and realized it, he said, no man, this strange, let's check out the other thing. So the other customs have said, listen man, that is just some boilers and some other stuff for a construction company. And of course, when they checked that shipment, they found 5 boilers. And these are not like little water heaters. These are really industrial size boilers, about 5 to 5.5 foot tall by about 2 foot or 2.5 foot wide. Big something. Weigh hundreds of pounds a piece. And inside that shipment, there were solar panels, racks and mounting equipment like inverters and solar batteries and so on. So it was like a complete set, a set of things to that would complement the boilers in operation. Them say, well, this will come from the same source, but these are legit goods. But I said, no man, make we check out this thing here because this strange. And when they checked and run them back through the scanner and thing, they picked up but that what was supposed to in the boilers were not in the boilers. It was something different from the boiler parts were supposed to in the boiler. And that's how it was busted. In other words, the first shipment for which they got that the authorities had gotten the tip off about, that was actually a decoy shipment. And when they checked for the charity organization or the church did not exist. They couldn't find it in the company's records office, and they couldn't find it listed in the yellow pages. And that is how that shipment got busted. And we need to look at this behind a specific background, This is the 4th shipment of guns that have been discovered at the wharf since December of last year. And this is the 2nd major gun find by the security forces and custom agency in about 7 weeks. In that shipment, few weeks ago, there were 30 firearms, 24 pistols, 6 rifles, 102 rounds of ammunition, 32 magazines, and so on. At this point, I need to insert a specific and very relevant piece of information. Up to yesterday, 29th of May, 695 illegal guns were recovered off the streets. To nearly 700. And this represents 80% of the total amount of guns that were taken off the street for the entirety of last year. In other words, last year we took off roughly 800 guns off the streets of Jamaica, illegal guns. And in 5 months we took off nearly 700, roughly 100 less than what was taken off for all of last year. Now, that should tell us something. We can extrapolate 2 things from this. 1, the security forces are working and working hard and are having a great effect. Or 2, so much guns are coming in and have oversaturated the place, so it's just easier to pick them up because they're like thrown out everywhere. Or it could be a combination of both. Now, who would want to do this to us? Of course, we know that Jamaicans are involved, but we need to look at the bigger picture. I think that there is a sinister and deeply orchestrated geopolitical reason for what's happening here. And I think that this has its origins in Washington, District of Columbia. You see, Jamaica's success right now, the former slave masters don't like it. They are doing their best to destabilize Jamaica because of the strides that it has made in the past 8 years. The first thing them do when they see Jamaica break away from IMF and World Bank and actually strive because of the pressure, the first thing them come do is poach Nigel Clark, the ultimate Minister of Finance. Him did too good for we. And the more Jamaica continues to strive, is the more they are going to be trying to destabilize Jamaica using some little lumpens that we have out here. Don't think so that these weapons that we see coming out here are just two little gunmen or two little political activists or so. Guys, it's much bigger than that. And listen to my take on this. Jamaica is at a crossroads right now. This government is leaning towards the east, China, and Jamaica is also being enticed to join BRICS. Now, we are considered to be the backyard of the perfect parasite. Now, the perfect parasite no one see nothing good happen in a no country on the face of the earth, no black country on the face of the earth, especially in our backyard. And we have always been considered from time immemorial to be the backyard of the perfect parasite. Now, your backyard is where you throw all of your junk. Your backyard is where you sweep up your rubbish and go burn it. Your backyard is which part you keep your chicken or you throw your dog shite or so on and so on. Any old junk where you have, you carry go throw down, run out your backyard, every discarded items. And they stay there and get rusty or rotten down forever until you throw them out and give the truck. But it's a place for discarded items. And that is how the perfect parasites see us. Now, when them see those nice infrastructures going up and road are fixed and the economy is booming, there are more than enough jobs going around and all of that, the perfect parasite realizes that it is losing control. And as always, they would want to put us in a position where we have to run back to them, where they can tell us, say, come back to the World Bank or the IMF, make we close down schools, stop give out free medicine at hospitals, bring back cost sharing in schools, have a moratorium on salary increases for 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, so that strikes and unrest and industrial actions can come back into the country. Keep Jamaica weak. But you might ask, why Jamaica? There are other Caribbean countries. Why Jamaica? And I'm going to tell you why Jamaica. Let us not forget that in the 1930s, there was a man in the United States who traveled from Jamaica to the United States called Marcus Mosiah Garvey. The largest black power movement that has ever existed in human history was headed by Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He had branches in Liberia, in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, and several other African countries, and also across the Caribbean, and branches in New York, in Chicago, Illinois, and several other states. And this was in the 1930s, before the internet. And news take 2 and 3 weeks for travel from point A to point B. And that man did that and rattled the entire United States government, shake them to bits, that they would have to imprison him, frame him and imprison him and kill the Black Star Line. Now, when you are a country, you have the fastest man in the world, the fastest woman in the world, the most recognized flag, the most recognized nation on earth, equal to you, the perfect parasite. You now go and see that nation that strive. Every leader will come up in our country will try to rise. The perfect parasite always hit them down. Look how many countries it has destabilized. Look how many presidents and prime ministers it has assassinated. Look how many governments it has overthrown. Look how many guns it has shipped into countries to kill off innocent people and destabilize them. Why we in Jamaica would think that they would be doing the same to us? Now, I can't call the name a certain destabilizing organization, but we all know, we heard a lot about them at the time when Michael Manley was in government. And that same organization had come in and destabilized the country. I think those same people are at play here. The same one who demonetized me because I put out this video here in support of country above the perfect parasite. So guys, we need to be on our P's and Q's. This not just so. And don't think this is just a little one man. Yaso and deso I do this. It is the country that has no friends, only interests. The same country which says plainly that, listen, have us as an enemy is dangerous, but to have us as a friend is fatal. And these people say them our friend. Remember that. Just something for you guys to think about. Thanks for watching. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.